Hello and welcome back to the HCCTV Student Lounge. This is a show done by HCC students for HCC students to give your opinions in news, entertainment, and what's going on in our school. My name's Kara going, hey Cardigan, what's up?
Hey Kayo, so good to see you again. We're also joined today by Benjamin, Josh, Andres, Vincent, Beth, Diego, and Eric. And we will also be joined today by our guest, Kevin Hamby. He is the program coordinator and faculty of interior design at HCC. But first, let's move into our top three news of the week. Now, students, registration for the spring 2021 is open. You're almost at the finish line for this semester, right? As we wrap out the fall, we want to encourage you to get a jump start on enrolling in the spring 2021 classes that work for your program plan, work your schedule, and other responsibilities. Are you taking classes the next semester, Kayo?
I'm always taking classes, forever.
Oh, really? When are you graduating?
Well, I already graduated 2 times, so I'm gonna graduate a third time next year, I think, or the other year. So I just keep studying.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm graduating this December, so I won't be taking classes next semester. Also, guys, attend events that connect you with employers and learn career tips. The Southwest Virtual Resume Editing and Review Workshop is taking place, and it will be a virtual meeting to instruct students how to own the process of creating, editing, and updating your resume. This will take place on November 12th by the time this air. So it will be at 2 p.m., from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So you can log in through your Career Hub and RSVP to join the meeting. Have you ever taken workshops here at HCC?
No, I heard of some really interesting ones, especially on the makerspace. They had some really cool class for like 3D printer and things like that. I kind of want to take those. I was like considering when COVID happened and we need to shut down everything, but maybe online classes, online workshops would be cool too.
Yeah, they actually created those face shields when COVID started, so that's very good. And talking about that, there is a app Pathon at HCC, and this is essentially a hackathon with a twist. So people have a one-day weekend gathering of the Houston Community College students. They gather for one day, and teams organize to address specifically defined challenges. So, using a fast paced hackathon process and methodology, teams will be introduced to the overall global issues by subject matter experts. They choose a challenge to address, they receive mentoring and feedback in gathering app showcases, and they integrate solutions to present their apps ideas in a virtual setting. So that's great. And that will be on Saturday, November 14th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we're going to show a link over here in the video so you can register for this app showcase. That would be great. Now, let's begin our first topic, which makes great discussion. So, how does living space represent you? Today, we're going to talk about interior design, but not everyone likes to focus on the design of their houses. So, and especially students, since we're just here to study and focus in our studies. For example, when I was living with my parents, I didn't care about design at all for my living space. I was studying and focusing on that. And now that I live by myself, I like to focus on how my living room represents me and how if I get home, I want to relax and lay down and of course invite people and have a setting for every occasion. So I do like to focus on that. I do like to make it function. So function informed, I want them both to cohere, and I focus a lot on that. I have trouble with my boyfriend because we have to get to a middle point. So he has his preferences on some things and I have mine. So if he wants a bigger TV, I want something else. So we have to get to the middle of that. And that's challenging, but it's very interesting. So how do you manage that, Kyle?
Yeah, that's a complicated topic here at home because like I usually don't want to spend money with those things. No, I mean it's tough. Okay, let's say I want a bigger TV, like a 4K TV. I prefer spending money with that than actually buying stuff for the house to make it look pretty. But at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. Like since I started living with my girlfriend, she started taking care of that the house looks much nicer. Things match, and I enjoy it. That's what you said. Like, it's good to come home and everything is organized and has this like home feeling. It's not just a place with like a couch. It has decorations on the walls and things like that. So I enjoy that. But for example, she wants a new couch because she says the couch we have right now doesn't match with anything. But the couch still works, like it's really comfortable. It looks good. Like, there's no scratch, no nothing in the couch. She just want a new couch to match with the rest. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend like $2,000-$3,000 to buy a new couch when our couch is perfect. So that's my point. Sometimes, especially ladies, you like to go crazy when it comes to that. So, come on. So I would like to hear from you guys what you guys would like to share.
For me, it's like possession blending. Kind of, Carolina and you both, Kyle, said one of the challenges when people get married, how do you blend those possessions? Where some of the work I've had was, the wife just wanted you to say to the husband, his stuff is ugly, get it out of here. We have to have something different. And that's not really the function of an interior designer. So maybe we could talk about diplomacy in interior design, or what kind of jobs would you get if you were an interior designer from HCC versus a four-year school?
For me, three years ago, when I was living in Colombia by myself, I was living in an apartment in Bogota. So I used to decorate my apartment with pop art, with different decorations. So I used to spend money to decorate my apartment. But when I came here to the United States, everything changed. So right now I have roommates. So they have different stuff. They have decorations. So I have my stuff too, my furnitures. So everything in my apartment is like a mix with everything mixed. So I think right now I don't care about that. So in the past I care, but right now no. I'm focusing my classes in my graduation next year. So right now I don't care, but in the past it was very important for me, but right now no.
That's so interesting to hear, because we all have our own preferences if we don't want to spend. And actually, maybe our guests can explain this to us a little bit better. You can make things look good and they don't have to be expensive. So maybe he can give us some tips. Now, Kyle, who is our special guest for today?
So today we have Kevin Hamby, and he's a program coordinating faculty for interior design here at HCC. So first of all, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. This is great.
It's a pleasure. So to begin with, tell us, what is interior design? Because a lot of people have trouble to understand this concept. So can you explain to us what it is?
So I think a lot of people have the misconception between interior decorating and interior design. They're two different professions. And so at HCC, we teach both professions. Interior decorating is just going to be your applied elements. So your decorative elements, paint, furniture, wallpaper, things like that. Interior design goes a little bit deeper, and we start studying space planning, how you move and circulate around a space. What is the lighting? What are sustainable issues that we're learning about right now with the environment, and how can we build and create space that responds to that? So we go in a little bit more deeper dive, and we're very much parallel to architecture with interior design. So if you think about it, I think most people are very related to interior decorating because that's what they see on TV and in magazines. But actually, we teach a lot more of a challenging and interesting field of interior design.
Wow. So, and actually this has something to do that I was going to ask you, because I noticed it has to do, like, interior design has to do with architecture, engineering, and a lot of different like subjects, even design, so it's not just one subject. It's pretty much a little bit of everything together in one thing. So can you tell me more, like, what are the things you need to learn in order to be a successful interior designer?
Sure. So in Houston, we are a city of oil and gas. We are a city of the medical field. We have over 6 million people living here. So you want to also think that interior design is both residential and commercial. So when you go to HCC and you enter the school, that was designed by an interior designer who designs commercial spaces. When you go into a restaurant or even the grocery store, that was designed by an interior designer that deals in commercial. So the space that you live in now, the walls in your house or your apartment were designed by a residential interior designer. So there's a big difference as far as different applications. And so what we teach is we teach both applications. So in our associate's degree, you'll learn residential design, you'll learn kitchen and bath design for residential, but you'll also learn commercial design. So in your last semester, we dive into office planning, we dive into hospitality, which is bars and restaurants and hotels, and we dive into healthcare. So you may be designing a doctor's office or a hospital. So we really try to expose students to everything that is interior design.
And one more time, you said that I thought about a different question that is related to the topic. So let's say that, according to business and of course home too. So pretty much the location that you are in also is gonna change the way you're gonna do something. For example, in Houston, we have a lot of space, different, for example, if you think about China, China, everything is so small, so tiny. So you need to design things in a way that you can save the most and make the most out of it, right? So do you think that it relates a lot, even the culture too, right?
Well, everything's big in Texas. So that's how we design here in Houston. We have so much space to spread out on. So we haven't really learned how to be efficient, and we haven't really learned how to condense down. And I think it's a cultural issue, because if you think about it, we have so many roads and so many freeways, and we're so spread out. But if you look at places like Boston or New York City, where everybody is condensed into smaller areas, you're able to access the city and services and things like that. So it is cultural and it is regional. So we try to look at both of those things. As far as a designer, you have to be knowledgeable of the context that you're designing in. So if you're designing for a family of one, or one person, it could just be an apartment somewhere. But if you're designing for a family of four, maybe it's out in the suburbs. But also you want to think of socioeconomic, you want to think of gender, and you want to think of relationships. So, we're moving into a different realm of less traditional applications. So you've got same-sex couples, you've got single families, you've got elderly, and you've got our Generation Z. All of them want different things. So we try to kind of talk about all of that in the program.
Wow, in my head right now is like moving so fast because there's so many things like mixed. Even psychology, for example, now that you're saying different ages, different like things that I never taught. So that's like really, really interesting for the topic. So, and in this subject, how can a student, for example, get experience? Because you cannot just go, I'm gonna go do interior design around the house. You cannot really do that. So you gotta at least have a little bit of experience. So how do the students do in the program at HCC?
So in our second year of classes, we take more advanced level classes. And the last summer that you're there, which would be your last class, is your practicum. And that is an internship. You're either working for a small design firm that specializes in residential or commercial. You may be also working in sales. People forget about the sales field. There's a lot of interior designers that work in the sales field. So you've got different areas that people can work at. But a lot of our students really go to work for smaller firms. We also have a specialization in kitchen and bath design. We have a couple of firms in Houston that just deal strictly in kitchen and bath design. So that is a specialty that we have in our program as well. We're actually the only program in Texas that offers a kitchen and bath specialized certificate. So we're really happy to have that. We're also supported by the National Kitchen and Bath Association as a program. So if you want to learn about kitchen and bath, we're the place to be, because we're the only ones in Texas that teach it.
Wow, one more thing that I didn't know. That's pretty cool. So do you know more about like what if students want to go to a 4-year school? Like can they do that, start at HCC and maybe transfer?
So in 2009, University of Houston closed their doors to interior design. They ended the program. And it was a program that was around for 45 years. It was the only program we had in Houston for a bachelor's degree. So what happened is that myself and a couple of faculty got together and decided that, that was a disservice to our Houston community, and that we needed a 4-year public option for students to get a degree, to get a bachelor's degree. So we partnered with Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches. And currently, our partnership consists of 2 years at HCC for interior design and 2 years at SFA for interior design to get your bachelor's. The nice part about it is that you don't have to move out of Houston to get your bachelor's. You can actually stay at the central campus at HCC and get your bachelor's degree. Our SFA partners actually travel down to Houston to teach their junior and senior level classes. And then they have a lot of classes that are online. But I really do think that this is a great thing for the city of Houston to be able to have qualified, educated, bachelor degree professionals coming out of Houston again, like we once did. The other thing too that they're really known for and that we're trying to push is certification. In the United States, you can become a licensed interior designer. In Texas, you can become a registered interior designer. I'm currently registered, so I have a license to practice the profession of interior design, which means I can do a lot of things that architects can do. I can stamp and submit drawings to the city for permitting. With your degree, with your bachelor's degree, and now the laws have changed with your associate's degree, you can actually sit for the national exam, pass it, and then apply for licensing to the state of Texas to become licensed. So that is definitely an advantage for interior designers. It opens a lot of doors, and so we're glad to have that.
Oh, well, that's really interesting, especially because Houston is a huge city. So, like we always do in construction. So I think we have a lot of demand for that. So in this also in the aspect of real estate, for example, I know that staging is really important when it comes to, making the house look pretty so people can buy the house. So can you tell me how it works, and especially with the technology today with virtual reality, AR, like how those things like combining together to make the best out of it?
So before COVID hit, we had a portfolio show at the Decorative Center Houston, and 4 of our outstanding students were able to take one of their projects and put it in virtual reality. So you could actually wear the goggles and you could walk through their project. It was really, really amazing. Again, that falls into the interior design kind of field. For stagers, for houses, they don't really do much of the presentational skills that virtual reality would do. I do know that in real estate, they do partner with interior designers to create such a presentation. But we are teaching our students virtual reality. So when they leave our program, they do know the skill of virtual reality and can be able to put their projects in a 3D presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So now we're going to move on to Eric. He wants to ask you something related to the topic. Hey, Eric, go ahead.
So me as a filmmaker, I graduated from school this year with a degree in film and writing and everything. In movies, they have what's called a production designer. It's basically the movie version of an interior designer. They make the sets, they design everything for the cinematographer and the director, but they are responsible for the entire look of the sets and the background of all films. So my question to you is, if a person were to graduate from HCCT with an interior design, how would they go about going to the film industry? Is that something that you recommend for them, or would you recommend they stay here in Houston and pursue kind of a career like that?
So what a great question. That was actually my first dream job, was to be a set designer. I totally wanted to do that for movies and sitcoms. I just thought, oh my God, how fantastic. But unfortunately, Houston doesn't really have a big film industry as much as Los Angeles would have. Mm-hmm. So you can get a degree. I do know that a preferred bachelor's is recommended for set design, but honestly, how actors move to LA and Hollywood, so do set designers, so do producers. You have to be where the action is. So, I do know that Austin sometimes has a nice kind of film industry as well. But you do want to explore those hot spots in the United States and figure out where you can be at the right time, at the right place. But definitely a degreed professional in interior design can certainly move right into set design.
Good to hear. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
How about window set design?
So like window treatments.
Right. Well,
Sure.
inside, like displays for
Oh, got you.
sure.
Actually, Beth, that was my first career before I actually went back to school and got my degree. I worked for Foley's, if you remember Foley's back in the day. And I was a visual merchandiser, what they used to call a window dresser. And so we would do the windows and dress mannequins and set the retail. We would decorate for Christmas and everything. So you learn a lot of skills. I think I've done everything. I think I've worn many hats. But
those were some fabulous windows.
yes, they were. And that's a visual merchandiser. You can also utilize your interior decorating certificate to become a visual merchandiser. Interestingly enough, though, is that we have a great fashion merchandising program at HCC that's different from the interior design program that deals with fashion merchandising. And I think that field has grown into something more specific. So, you can use both degrees and go into that sort of profession.
Perfect. Those are great answers. It was really good talking to you, Kevin, and I feel like I need to reorganize my house because, after all those thoughts that you gave, I don't think I have a beautiful home yet. So thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So Carolina, what's going on now?
Okay, well, we have our gaming section. So Vincent, what's up in the gaming world?
Hey guys, before I talk about gaming news, speaking about interior design, my friend just moved to a new place and asked me for some help to move some furniture. And boy, does she make designing a room complicated. Here, let me show you right after this transition. Okay guys, gaming news. So it's finally time. After months of delays, Cyberpunk 2077 is finally coming out on November 19th. Wait, what's that? I'm getting word. Actually, okay. Sorry, scratch that guys. Unfortunately, Cyberpunk 2077 has just got delayed again to December 10th. I guess we'll just have to wait another month or months or years or never. When will this game finally come out? Okay, so next gaming news, Call of Duty Cold War. The game has finally announced their game size, and apparently the game is going to be 135 gigabytes on release date. That is almost a tenth of the memory space from your PS4. And it could even be bigger after all these updates later on. So that's more bad news. I guess we should talk about some good news. Well, have you ever read the book called Animal Farm? Apparently, it's getting a video game adaptation. It's going to be a narrative-driven game about animal propaganda, and you get to rule your own farm. So if you ever read the book and you're a fan, it's getting a game adaptation. And it's coming out on December 10th. So I guess Cyberpunk is going to have some competition. All right, that's it for gaming news. Back to you guys.
That was a hilarious video that you showed us, Vincent. Well, what shows are out, Kayo, that you want to show us related to the topic?
So today I would like to share one from Netflix. It's Amazing Tier. It's a show on Netflix. And what I love the most about it is because it seems like really regular houses by the outside. But once you go inside of the house, they are just amazing. There's some that are really crazy that I don't think I would be able to live in a place like this. But some of them are really like art, literally so artistic, and the way they make, you know, as we were talking to a guest today, like how they create everything according to the space you live, where you live, who lives with you. So it's a great show. Again, I really enjoy watching those shows before going to bed. It makes me dream with some good stuff. So I recommend you doing the same.
I like the show, or it's not a show, there's some YouTube videos out there about glass bottle houses. It's kind of a sculpture. So you can turn, you know, waste into a really cool house, and you have all these different colored lights coming in. It's kind of neat. You can check it out. We'll probably put a link out there for that.
I want to recommend a movie called 13 Ghosts. This movie is a supernatural, dark, R-rated movie, but the whole plot of it kind of revolves around interior design. The whole house is basically a mechanism or machine that revolves around making every single room, from countertops to entire living rooms, so it can contain 13 ghosts and prison cells. It revolves around a main character being a math teacher who inherited the house from his uncle. And the entire movie has each ghost being released from their cell because the entire house is being redesigned mechanically, with every single room and interior being redesigned. So if you're a fan of interior design and supernatural type things, I recommend it for you. But it's rated R, so I warn you. It's done by director Steve Beck.
I would also like to recommend a movie. It's called Nocturnal Animals. It's written and directed by Tom Ford, a fashion designer. Now, while you can see, like, if you're watching a movie for aesthetics, he covers all bases from what they're wearing to the interior design and the aesthetics of the decoration. So the house, the main house they're in, is super cool, super well designed, and everything about it aesthetic wise is really cool. And I'd recommend it to anyone that's interested in interior design.
Well, this time around, I want to recommend a TV show called Fixer Upper on HCCTV. It starts with Joanna and Chip Gaines off in Waco, Texas, not too far from here. And it talks about their company, Magnolia Homes, where they usually buy houses in the market that are not like the best looking houses in the interior, kind of like older houses, but they convert them into these amazing and beautiful looking houses. So if you want to take a look at something with more of that interior design and decoration going on, I'll definitely take a look at them. And one of the things was I forgot, before I forget, the show ended in 2017, but news has it that they might be picked up for another season. So yeah, we'll stay on the look for that. So Fixer Upper.
I'm going to talk about the movie Swallow today. Swallow is a psychological thriller movie about a woman who develops pica, which is a disorder that makes you have the impulse to consume inedible objects. Now, this movie takes place in like an upstate New York house. And if you were to just see screenshots of the movie, you wouldn't be able to tell like what genre this was in. The house that they're in uses a lot of bright colors. It has a lot of open space. There's high-end decor, lots of crown moldings on the ceilings. There's simple patterns on the walls and the carpets. And I kind of think that the director used a lot of interior decoration to help subvert the expectations of what you're going in to watch.
Very good. Thank you so much, Josh. All right, guys, it's the time today to say goodbye. I know you guys missed the meme of a funny video because we didn't have one last week. So I know you're really excited for today's. So wait to the end of the show so you can check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you next week.
Thank you all, guys, for your input, and thank you so much for our guests. We're going to put our link also for our interior design program at HCC, so you can go and check it out. And also don't forget to send us your opinion about the show and send us topics you would like to discuss. We'll see you next time on the Student Lounge.